This episode of Capes and Lunatics is brought to you by Tweaked Audio. Get awesome headphones, go to tweakedaudio.com and use the coupon code Southgate to get 30% off, free shipping, and a lifetime warranty. Or you can get there through the link on our website, southgatemediagroup.com.
This is Luca Parrish, and you're listening to the Capes and Lunatics podcast.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Capes and Lunatics. I am Phil. Joining me, as always, it is Turner Decentry from New Jersey. It is
Charlie, the Professor Essa.
And coming to you live from Florida, Turner, never Turner down a drink. It is.
Hey y'all, it's Lil Hellfire.
Woo!
Yay.
Nice to see you wearing the cans, Lilith.
Professional. All right. Don't have a lot on the list, but I did see something this week, and then Charlie Esser also brought it up. So Ed Brubaker wants some Falcon and Winter Soldier money.
Oh, he feels sad because he feels he's owed more money because Disney's making money off of characters he didn't create, but that he told a story about. And he feels that because a story happened, he should get paid money.
Yeah, I mean, at first I read it, I was like, I don't know, should some of these people be getting more money? But then you were like, yeah, I'm like, he's like, he didn't invent Bucky.
No, he came up with the idea that, Bucky was a brainwashed assassin. Great. And, for what it's worth, I'm sure he got paid a lot up front for that, or at least a fair rate. Because for what it's worth, it's like, yeah, it took off. And that's what I always say. It's like for every Winter Soldier, there's a lot of speedballs. There's a lot of Squirrel Girls until Squirrel Girl hits too, And for what it's worth, sometimes Squirrel Girl hits and it's not the person who came up with Squirrel Girl who makes Squirrel Girl a hit. So, 6 of one, half a dozen. I think he is getting something from it, but not as much as he feels he's owed, which is honestly probably true of every artist who works.
Yeah, I was going to say, life of a comic book. Anything.
Yeah, for hire like that. It's a different business model. It's not like he was doing creator-owned work. He was literally not even creating a new character. He was just adding on to the mythos of an existing character.
I mean, and again, too, he didn't invent the character. He came up with something that a twist that became wildly popular. But again, it's like does the person who came up with Spider-Gwen, do they deserve a whole bunch of money?
Well, probably.
I mean they all deserve, and that's the thing
with Gwen Stacy. But it's just like someone came up with that,
and it goes into the relative success of the character and the payment that was made at the time of the book sales. So when you're creating these book sales, I believe they are getting paid on a per unit basis for the books sold. I could be completely wrong on that.
It's just time to restructure contracts. That's all. For the time that he was writing that, who could have foreseen this, kind of thing.
Well, yeah, and again, like I said, it could just have easily blown up in everyone's face. And they could have said, oh no, it was a clone Bucky all along. Because not for nothing, those who don't remember, just before Winter Soldier, they did a whole clone Bucky, clone Cap thing. Where they had a bunch of clone Buckies. So they could have absolutely slipped that into the storyline if it had completely exploded in their face. That it didn't was great. But the fact that it, Marvel took the chance. Marvel paid for premium writer, and I'm sure Brubaker, because Brubaker was a name even at that point, and his fame has only grown since then. But to say like, well, I did this.
Nobody put him up to this but his agent, just to keep him relevant in the news. That's just my theory. Somebody's just worked in PR. They're just like, just cause a stir. Maybe they'll throw you some extra shekels, just so Disney fans are like, come on, you got more money than God. Give the guy something. And
yeah, it's not working for that Star Wars guy though.
Well, that's a different situation.
Yeah, I get the feeling that Disney's kind of like feeling very.
Disney's regretting buying Star Wars. They're like, the toy merch isn't even worth all the hassle with these damn fans.
I mean, yeah, seriously. I mean, they could have made all their shekels off of Marvel, and
Yeah, but they wanted them.
They are going to be Skynet. They have to have everything, all encompassing.
Yeah. They heard Space Princess and they said, we have to buy that.
Exactly.
There can be no princesses but the princesses.
Meanwhile, they could have just redone, Treasure Planet, and we would have been happy.
Could have expanded the black hole universe, man.
So many
that was
options,
their
and they
Star
decided to
Wars.
buy Star Wars. I mean, go off, George Lucas. You got your money, but the fandom has never been the same.
Yeah, well, but to be fair, the fandom wasn't the same even
the
before
fandom's
that.
terrible. I'm part of the fandom. We're awful.
And to be fair, you know why he sold? Because we didn't like Jar Jar. He said, I like Jar Jar, and you people don't like my vision. F you all fans. I'm selling to Disney.
I'm going home.
Exactly.
I'm going back to the ranch.
Because why should he? Why should he? It's like, when the fans are being that mad about, every little thing you do, and nothing is ever good enough. And
you can never live up to the hype. It's like, I talk about like Game of Thrones that last year. It could have been a masterpiece. It would have never lived up to what everybody wanted it to be. Just impossible. So that's why George R. R. Martin is just trying to bide his time so he can kick the bucket. So he ain't got to finish that book.
Yeah, it is.
That's the thing.
But you know what? If they're going to buy it regardless, why not just slap it together? And that was basically, I'm sure the guys at the end of Game of Thrones were like, you know what? We just got to put an ending on this.
But then it backfires because now you can't write Star Wars either because that's where they were going to go. They're like, nope, we already got condescending fans. We don't need any more.
Yeah.
That's why I'm like, oh, Patty Jenkins, please let it be good because you will never work in this town again if you ruin Star Wars, ma'am.
I think she's going to do just fine.
I do too, but those Star Wars fans.
Yeah. I think getting out from under the Warner's heel may help her.
I hope so. She deserves better after Wonder Woman 84. Maybe she'll write a book in 10 years.
Wait, what is this? What is this, Russell? What about Disney canceling all Predator stuff due to a lawsuit?
Oh, that Fox thing? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Why? I heard there's some conflict with Predator, and it's kind of like, it's Predator. Oh, don't take Predator away from us, please.
Lock it in the vault like you do everything at Fox Century. Lock it up.
Well, it's like if everyone's
going to just... Simpsons, it's getting locked up, baby.
Yeah, well, I mean, they didn't buy Fox for Predator, Predator's great. I'm sure they'd love to do stuff with it.
They bought it to get all the mutant rights back.
Well, I mean,
It is what it is on that one.
Yeah, I mean, and not for nothing, they let HBO have New Mutants at the moment, so, they're like, yeah, sure, go ahead.
Oh, geez, so kind and wonderful and generous.
Well, they're like, I don't know, man. You got this flotsam and this jetsam, and you deal with it as you have to. And some of this stuff will have value, and some of this stuff might have value a few years down the road. Like, they may bring, I mean, the thing is that things like the Predator are not really that unique of a concept in general.
Well, that brand had been run down so bad, too.
Yeah.
With all those spin-offs and all that other stuff, so...
Yeah, because, for what it's worth, that's like I am at once intrigued and horrified by Legendary making a Toxic Avenger film. Because it is like, I don't know if you know what Toxic Avenger is, but budget wasn't the problem. We're not I don't know if budget is going to make, if we only had more money. Imagine what Toxic Avenger would be like if we had more money. It's like when they say, when they did the digitally remastered Hardware Wars, and they're like, we can remove the strings from the shot if you want us to. And they're like, we know we shot it to show the strings because it's cheap. That's the gag. So,
Oh my God. Ray literally will podcast about anything. Russell said Ray and him were going to do a quarterly podcast on Predator, but it's on hold now till the lawsuit clear. So Ray literally will podcast about anything. If you have any topic, seriously, contact Ray in Australia. He will.
Okay, but the thing is, all of the Predator stuff's out there. You can still podcast about the Predator. No one's stopping you.
Yeah, but how much? Yeah, but how much?
But you live on the buzz in the predictions of what's coming, what's new, what's going on. So if you're just tied up in a lawsuit, which could take 10, 15 years sometimes.
I don't think it's a consistent universe with strong canon. I'm just going to go out on a limb on that one.
Movies,
they had aliens fight predators, and both those franchises are in completely different universes at completely different points in time.
And Ray likes it long.
Okay. But this is my point. It is what it is.
If you can complain and get a few shekels, go for it. That's pretty much the gist of that Ed Brubaker situation and everything else.
Yeah. What I will say is I think that predators and aliens go very well together. Fine, Tristan. It's like I get the feeling that yes, I think that the Tristan demographic, I think, is a solid demographic. And the fact of the matter is, I think any individual item by themselves gets less and less attractive to what their core audience is attracted to.
Well, I mean, that's what you need to do for continued success. Hook the kids. I mean, you get the Tristan essence. I mean, yeah, you can reboot it and get another decade or two out of it.
But right now he's into Attack on Titans, so that's the thing. Is like when it comes to body horror frighteningness, there's a lot out there. And if you're gonna throw a whole hissy fit about Disney owning Predator, and they say, well, then we're not going to do it. Then okay, here's 10 more Attack on Titans, and everyone forgets about Predator. It's like Avatar. It's like if you're not in the business of making it, people are going to fall away from it. And these writers kind of hurt themselves in that way by, I don't know, trying to renegotiate after the fact, because whatever was in their contract, for what it's worth, I get the feeling Disney reads these contracts very carefully. And yes, they are looking to pay as little as possible, but I get the feeling every argument they have will stand up in court because they hired lawyers expressly for that purpose. They don't stop cutting checks until they know they're not going to get penalties on those checks. Because those penalties do rack up.
Rack them up.
I don't, just an opinion, just a completely unfounded opinion, but I get the feeling that Disney doesn't pick these fights unless they know they're going to win.
I don't know. Wait a second.
They haven't lost a lot of these fights. That's all I'm saying.
No, I mean they have the best. They have the best legal. The best lawyer.
Yeah, and for what it's worth, a lot of people do like to sue Disney just because that's where the money is.
Wait, did I blank something? He said they were going to do the Predator series from Marvel and the Dark Horse. That Marvel had a Predator series.
Well, I think Predators walked around a lot of places,
Yes, I mean, I know the Dark Horse stuff. They kind of did like, Predator versus Superman, Predator versus Batman and stuff. But yeah, I don't remember the Marvel stuff.
I mean, Marvel isn't the only place doing Star Wars comics right now. So they're still letting other people do comics.
Yeah.
And, maybe Marvel said, it's not going to be worth it to go into it because for what it's worth, there's already other people that are doing Predator comics. There's other lore. It's sort of like every time when another company takes over G.I. Joe and it's not Larry Hama, and now it's a whole other set of lore and a whole other set of concepts. And now, Snake Eyes wasn't in Vietnam. All these things happen and didn't have his face melted off. And, and it's a little harder for people when you have these different parallel realities, I mean, obviously it's not hard for the really hardcore fans who've been following every single iteration. But if you come in from one iteration and now they're saying, wait, no, that's not right.
They just don't want to pay Jesse Ventura royalties.
Oh, I think royalties. No, they would absolutely pay Jesse Ventura to come back and reprise his role. Except I think he died.
No, he
I don't think
didn't.
Jesse Ventura made it out of that.
Oh, the movie. Yeah.
Yeah. No, Jesse Ventura didn't die in real life, but his character died. You can't bring him back unless they do a Legend of Curly's Gold, and it's I'm the sexual Tyrannosaurus's identical twin. I can't remember what his character's name was. All I know is that he said he was a sexual Tyrannosaurus, and they say, "Shove this up your sore ass." So
there's a drop.
There's a drop. Anyway,
sexual Tyrannosaurus.
Yeah, so that's that. Well, what are you gonna do? I mean, I support writers' rights, but it's like, yeah, but you also have to recognize where your rights end and where another storyteller's rights are beginning. Because that's really the thing. This is a whole other writer's story.
Yeah, but again, it's like the Brubaker stuff. It's like Bucky was already a pre-existing character. It's like, I mean, look at Jim Starlin. He created Thanos. I don't think he's getting anything for those movies.
He gets a credit. If he gets a credit, he's getting something.
I mean, Brubaker got a credit didn't he get a?
Well, yeah, I think his point is that he's getting something, just not very much.
Yeah.
And it's because the entire model is different.
They throw you off a bridge. You don't want to get the Gwen Stacy treatment.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. It's and who.
Well, I think Lilith was right. She was, it's just like he's keeping his name in the news and stuff, I guess.
Yeah, but I mean he's a named writer. Right? That's the thing. And as far as unions
go, how much they blow through their money, though, Charlie. That's all that I'm saying.
Oh.
Yeah.
Unless you're like Stephen King, Michael Crichton, somebody like that. I mean, honestly.
Although to be fair, because you said this is what happens when you're not unionized. Well, there is a writers' union. There actually is. Not for comic book writers, for screenwriters.
Yeah, for screenwriters, that's a thing, but specific comic book writers, like.
Yeah, well, no, because
a terrible industry with shady practices.
Yeah, because it's a low margin industry. That's the thing.
Exactly.
Well, for decades, people didn't take it seriously. They were just like, "Oh, they're writing funny books for kids."
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, even still,
and they should have been respecting it, but now it's like we'll see how things go from this point forward.
Well, I think
especially with the way the industry is right now.
On the verge. For both sides, until like the last 20 years. Before that, people were like, "Yeah, what's going to come? You might get like a silly movie or two here or there, but it's not going to be like a gigantic industry."
Well, what's likely going to happen is the WGA is going to work to incorporate the writers of other forms of visual fiction.
They need protection.
Yeah,
at the very least,
and
insurance.
I think that's going to be the big switch. Is the WGA is going to get involved because for what it's worth, a lot of comic book writers are also in the WGA at this point. At least a lot of big name time, because there's a lot of people that came from the WGA and are now writing comic books. So the idea of them, the idea of having that cross-pollination makes sense. And so I can definitely see Disney being willing, the big houses like Disney, like Warner's, being willing to say, okay, let's talk to the WGA. Let's get our comic books into the union. Let's build these structures. Because as I say, the unions are much more of a friend to industry than people think, because it avoids lawsuits. Once you have base rules and laws that say, okay, here's what we're doing, everybody agrees to it, and what unions invariably do is they build up the lower end at the cost of the higher end, because the higher end doesn't need as much help as the lower end of the industry.
And comics is just such a weird animal. It's unlike anything. Well, I mean, I'm sure they're like shows and movies and stuff, but it's like, I think more than anything, comics is just, if you're starting your own property, that's one thing, but you come in to write a Spider-Man, it's like, well, guess what? Spider-Man's been a company thing since 1962, so.
Well, exactly.
It's like how much credit, how much money are you supposed to get for playing with other people's toys?
Yeah, but and especially, but along those lines, you can be the guy who changes who the Rhino is, and now the Rhino is a big character, and now you may feel, well, I am owed something for that, and that's where the Union would be helpful, because this is the storyline that you created. This is what you're owed on that storyline. And that's the idea. That's what you want to get to. Is having a situation where the writers do get the acknowledgement that they're owed, but on a sliding scale that is based on what is being copied and what was a logical extension. If you do Flowers for Rhino, that character's storyline is going to be very different than just the storyline that someone did for Rhino who created the character of the Rhino.
Lilf, is this why the DC movies look nothing like the comics?
No, they're just trash.
Well, yeah. I just.
Oh, by the way,
it has nothing to do with that. The people that they pick choose to not do those storylines, or if they do, very, very super loosely.
So here's my thing. I really need to go back and watch Man of Steel.
No.
Because I realized that apparently there is a scene between Clark and that general. And I want to see if the general makes it clear that it's really Martha. That, And if it's not, does that mean that, Martian Manhunter killed that general at some point to take his place? Possibly because he was a threat to her baby. To his baby. That it's like, my baby Clark, I'm going to take this person's job. And if we see like a dramatic character shift where like, oh, Superman can't be trusted, maybe Superman's okay. If there's like that kind of a shift, I'm going to say, that's when Martha killed him. Martha Manhunter.
Did we see any scene where Martian Manhunter was that general?
Yeah, that general is Martian Manhunter in the last one, the Snyderverse cut. Because
I thought he was Martha.
But he's Martha, and then he turns into that general.
Oh yeah, okay. Well,
so he comes out of the room as Martha, turns into Martian Manhunter, then turns into that general.
Well, that doesn't mean
naked the whole time.
General. That doesn't mean he's always that general.
Well, I think it means that basically, my thing is, if he's always that general, he's also always Martha. So his human form is going to be either Martha or this general, and maybe a dozen other human forms that he has. And I see no reason not to assume that he has either always been that form or that he killed that person and took their place. Just like Mystique does. Remember when Mystique did that to Senator Kelly?
I thought we were going to stop talking about the Snyderverse in perpetuity.
No, because I find that's the one thing that's redeemable about it is the idea that Martian Manhunter raised Kal-El to be Clark with his, real love of his life, Jonathan Kent, and how sad he was when Jonathan Kent died, and really feeds into everything about it. It's like it all makes sense if you think of Martian Manhunter living this life, having to be afraid of humans, and instilling in Jonathan Kent that idea, like, look, humans, they're great, I love them, but we have to be careful around them. We have to be mindful of how dangerous they are.
Is there any way
everything makes sense if you imagine Martian Manhunter raising Clark Kent? That entire series makes much more sense.
They would never go there. One, I don't know if they didn't even think of it.
No,
Two,
well, I'm just saying maybe that's what Snyder wanted to do, and maybe they were like, well, we can't be too explicit about that. It's like, well, I'm going to sneak it in. Now that I finally get my Snyder cut, I can let the truth be revealed.
Again, is Zack Snyder that deep, though?
Maybe. Honestly, Army of the Dead looks cool.
I mean, he makes pretty things, but I'm just saying, is there depth there?
I mean, could be. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe things are different than we think they are. Maybe he actually does have depth. He just doesn't know how to tell it succinctly, Maybe it's not so much that there's not depth there. He just needs to do all the breadth to get to the depth. he builds pyramids, not towers. It's like got that very, very, very wide base.
That thing was a pyramid scheme. It seemed like.
Yeah, and
You sit there for 4 hours listening to something you didn't want to listen to.
get to the peak.
No,
But,
that's more like a timeshare pitch.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's what I meant. Sorry.
I don't know, man. I'm just saying. I think that there could be. I'm just saying there's a plot thread in there that could be very powerful and moving
In a Zack Snyder.
if it exists. If that was the authorial intent, then it actually brings a much different cadence to the entire universe.
Again, am I totally off base? But I'm just like moving and deep. That doesn't smack Zack Snyder to me.
Well, I don't know. The guy really thinks a lot about his images. Maybe he thinks about stories too.
At least those DC movies, it doesn't.
I don't know. Well,
I don't know.
I'm just saying, it's an interesting choice he made.
From the man who brought you. Why'd you say that name?
Well, and now we find out, and for all we know, Martha was Martha there too. It's like it was that both. We don't know how many lives Martian Manhunter has been living. That's what I'll say.
If you want to save it, Jeffrey Dean Morgan as Flashpoint Batman. Come on.
Yeah.
No, as much as I love him, he can't save that terrible, terrible movie. I'm not looking forward to it. Probably won't watch it, to be honest.
We'll see what happens.
I see all kinds of rumors.
I'm not supporting Ezra Miller. I'm just not doing it.
I know.
But have you seen The Rock working out for
oh Lord,
the Black Adam role?
Did you, Charlie Ezra?
Well, I've seen the photos he posted.
Oh.
That man.
That is like a teenage me thing. I'm over it.
Oh.
Over it.
I'm just saying they're not going to have to CGI the lightning. That's all I'm saying. That man is crackling. It is an impressive display. And for what it's worth, I honestly feel The Rock can act. Maybe I'm in the minority on that, but I honestly feel this man has breadth and depth to his performances that is going to make Black Adam be a really interesting story.
I mean, I don't mean to disparage the gentleman, but has he done anything that hasn't been like a popcorn action movie or
hasn't
comedy?
been The Rock being The Rock?
Exactly.
Similar a la Jason Momoa being Jason Momoa?
Exactly. Is he more talented and more likable Jason Momoa?
He has fans, and that's going to put butts in the seats.
Yeah.
And that's why they hired him.
I mean, well, I guess here's the thing. I think that The Rock as a character... So here's what I'll say. The Rock as a character in wrestling is a very different character than he tends to play in movies. So, as an example, I think, first off, The Rock has a really great ear for comedy, which is all about timing and nuance. And his
Shazam is one thing, but do you want a funny Black Adam?
Oh, well, I think it doesn't have to be funny. That's the thing.
Well,
it's like comedy is just comedy is an entrance point. And people that can do comedy,
drama, to be fair. So
yeah, exactly. Comedy is
it's an innate talent, to be honest. It really is.
Yeah, if you can do comedy, you can do drama. But if you can do drama, you can't necessarily do comedy.
It's actually harder, is what a lot of people say.
Yeah, well, because comedy is all timing.
It's timing, and you just have to know. You have to have it. Either you do or you don't.
Which also, wrestling is all timing. It's about being able to move and to present the character and the presentation. It's very much like Shakespearean acting.
Present your head. Present your head for the steel chair. Yes, that does remind me.
Well, but you have to know how to do that.
Choreography that you can really hurt somebody is.
Yeah.
I mean, really, don't.
It is a physical feat. Plus, you have to act soap on the ropes.
Yeah, it is. That's why I say I think the man can do it. I think the man is going to do fantastic.
I'm just saying it's very much his character, The Rock, in every single thing that he's done, from the Tooth Fairy to Jumanji. I'm just saying.
Well, yeah. Well, you're talking about his comedies, not his dramas. I don't think his character in Fast and the Furious is the same character.
It's the same character. It's the same character.
His character is much more
big muscle-bound guy cracking jokes. They're desperately
well, there's different kinds of jokes. It's a different character if you're the big goofy guy cracking jokes, as if you're the big suave guy cracking jokes.
Same guy.
It's-
Sorry.
No, again,
As a rock connoisseur from way back,
Whoa.
I'm sorry. It's the same guy.
I will say as an
It is
actor, I would
Jason
say it's a
Momoa being
very
Jason
different.
Momoa.
It's a very different presentation you take.
Can you smell what Little Hellfire is cooking?
And to
At
give
the
you
core of it, it's the same performance. That's all that I'm saying. At the
well,
core of it,
Jason
it's the
Momoa,
same
yes,
performance.
but Jason
No, I'm
Momoa can't do
specifically talking
comedy.
about Mr. Dwayne The Rock Johnson. I can just admit it. I wish the rest of his fans would too. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, I'm just, you know what? I haven't seen him do it yet, but it's
He
kind of,
ruined
you
the
know.
Fast and the Furious franchise, so he's been dead to me for a while. So
Okay,
Speaking of, so what? So movie number 9.
so you're just making it personal then.
it's not personal. It's just the truth. Like, it just really opened my eyes. I loved The Rock up until that point, but I did not need him in the Fast and the Furious, and that's where it was just like, ooh, why do I like The Rock other than that he's handsome and has muscles?
So
No
what?
reason.
Okay, speaking of, nice segue. So that thing's getting 3 more movies because what is it? Number 9 is coming out soon.
Well, we're getting
They're going
another
to space.
spin-off, which kind of
Oh, yeah.
sort of doesn't count, and then the main 10 is where they're going to end it, and then they're going to do another spin-off.
I was gonna say
But in the main franchise itself, they're going to 10. And then
I
the
haven't watched any of
spin-offs
those
get into 12.
after the third one. I never watched any of those. But
That's your loss. Y'all know that's my favorite franchise, so whatever. It is what it is.
family.
Pirates with cars.
Yeah,
Oh,
I mean, so because that's the thing. I mean, I guess for
hard.
you know, because I kind of feel like Tokyo Drift was a very different film.
It is. It actually, we debate if it's even in the universe, and then it's like the whole Han thing. That is like our Superman 3. It's like, should that exist? Are we gonna claim? I guess we kind of sort of have to.
But I
claim
kind of
it.
like Tokyo Drift, so that's the thing. It's like
Exactly my point. There's
You know,
always the
so-
Charlie Esters in the fandom.
you know, what are you gonna do? Anyway, I don't know. Look,
It's
we'll
the Superboy
just
Prime because we have to actually take it out of the actual chronological timeline to make it actually work into the actual whole franchise of the thing.
That was just a really nice package.
I will say we will judge Black Adam when it comes out, if it comes out. They're shooting it, so I assume something will eventually come out.
It's been 84 years.
Okay, Bucky. It's
Titanic.
That was a Titanic reference.
How dare you, heathen?
yes, I know. Well, okay, I've never watched Titanic.
What? How did
Why
you
would
live through the last part of the 90s with women in your life?
Because I know how it
ends.
He's like,
I know how it ends.
I
The boat,
know how
it's the iceberg.
It's the point of it's the journey, my
you missed
friend.
the human drama.
No, I understood it. See,
Seriously,
actually,
though? You were like, no offense, you were like a very older man in the night. You did not go on date nights that whole 1997 because that was the only movie back then.
Burn.
nobody that I was dating at that time would have been into it. You know.
You
Burn.
lucked out, sir. You lucked
Yeah,
out.
I mean, I mostly dated goth girls, and
That was like
That-
literally middle school sleepover movie. Oh,
Yeah,
I hated
that's-
it. I was like, can we just watch the Blair Witch? Can we please?
yes, if you remember, SNL did a whole big thing about how goths were not into Titanic, and I was into goths. So
Don't steal them up at the theater material. Come on.
I mean, 3.5 hours or whatever it is at a movie theater. Yeah, that's why all the kids were going back again and again. It wasn't for the movie. I'm just saying. Girls
anyway,
looking at Pretty Boy Leonardo DiCaprio. I'm just saying, dark lights, privacy.
oh, I'm sure many people enjoyed it. Don't get me wrong.
And it wasn't. They weren't watching it for the plot. I guarantee you.
Paint me like one of your French girls.
Yeah, see, but this is I've never been a big fan of any of Cameron's works except for Terminator 2.
What?
Terminator 1's okay.
No. T2 is the pinnacle, Pete Cameron, but he still does a lot of other interesting stuff. So it's just.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying he does bad stuff. I'm just saying I've never been a fan of his work. You
He
know, it's
should
like
have directed Aquaman. I'm just saying.
oh
They really
no,
blew their
that
load.
makes sense. He was going to at one point.
No, that was the joke from Entourage. It was a joke from Entourage.
Oh no, well, no,
He
I
wasn't
think they
ever gonna
actually
do
did
that.
have that he was going to do Namor or something.
Yeah, something along those lines. But it wasn't actually Aquaman. But I pitched that for so long, but he was too far gone by the time that they wanted to actually get into the pre-production.
Well, he would have wanted to shoot it underwater, so.
No, yeah, that's my point.
Yeah,
he had the technology, the whole thing, but he was too busy off into the Avatar land by the time that anybody could even think about, oh, maybe Aquaman could be profitable.
Yeah, but I remember reading in, what was it, Wizard Magazine, or... There was a magazine, but basically where they'd give all these things, there were like these big, deep, like former cooling towers that were filled with water that they were going to be shooting for the Namor sets, and I was like, oh, that sounds so cool. You know, and because that was also where I read that
he had done that similarly with a couple of other movies.
Exactly, he had invented new technology because he did that one with he did the one with the water is like a living alien kind of thing. That was him, right? Where the water was like all CGI and
sounds familiar.
Made a face at people to communicate. I forget what it was called.
Was that the Deep? Or
no, it wasn't. It wasn't Deep Sigma 6. It was the Abyss. The Abyss. That's what.
Oh, the Abyss. Yeah, that nightmare of a movie. Very surprised that it even actually got made and got put out into production and actually became a movie.
Yeah, but you like develop new technology for it where you speak in the headset when you're in the which actually became like, oh wow, that's actually really useful.
A lot of technology
we should actually use that
he
when we
hasn't
swim.
put to use yet. It never is. Avatar 2 is not happening, kids. Sorry to break it to you.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. It's like I will straight up say Cameron is a genius. I'm just not a big fan of his movies. I respect his movies, but I respect his movies as a technological feat. But it's like his storytelling. It's okay. It's good. It has to like T2 is peak pinnacle Cameron. I will give you that. It's like everything has to like come together, like lightning in a bottle, and then you just can't recapture that. And the T-1000 really does. It is such a perfect villain.
He just shouldn't do movies that he thinks he's going to need a sequel. He should be a one and done guy. That's his problem.
Well, I think a lot of people start out like that. I mean, even Sylvester Stallone starts out like that. And then someone says, oh, but what if we gave you $1 million more? And, not everybody has the willpower to say no.
Ham. He had that sequel in the back pocket, let me tell you.
I don't know. The first Terminator was what, 1984? And then that sequel didn't come out till what,
many years later.
Yeah.
They were lucky they could still get Arnold in for it. That's what I'm saying.
Exactly. I mean, I guarantee you they didn't know they were going to get a sequel when they did that first one.
Yeah.
It's going to be a cheesy 80s sci-fi thing, and it was going to be over and done with. And
yeah.
Some days I wish that's what was the case, honestly.
And honestly, I think
that's another franchise that's just an absolute mess and a nightmare.
What, you don't like
that? I think is one of the things that I think hurts a lot of films these days is people are always thinking about franchising when they should be thinking about let's make one good film. And that I think is
somewhere for the eagle-eyed fan. Doesn't have to be implicit, explicit, none of that. Just let it be.
Well, because I think and again, we're getting indie directors, which is Marvel's like big claim to fame.
That's how you maximize your money.
Well, you maximize your money, but you also get guys that are used to just saying, "I'm just making one movie," And then when you give them another movie, they're like, "Okay, maybe I'll do another movie too," but they're not approaching it with this idea of, "Okay, I've got to build this immense universe on this scaffolding." They say, "I'm going to tell one good story," because if you tell one good story, you're going to at least have something at the end of it. And then if you want to tell another good story, you can say, well, what did we say in the last story? Okay, here's what we can build off on that. And that's how you tell an organic...
My biggest prime example is Pacific Rim 2. There never should have been a Pacific Rim 2. No need for it, and it totally flopped.
Yeah, but then again, should there have ever been a Pacific Rim 1?
Pacific Rim 1 is good popcorn movie.
Yes.
Come on, it's kaijus and mechs, come on.
I'm just saying it's no Atlantic Rim. That's all I'm saying.
I don't think those are tentacles.
Oh, no, they were definitely tentacles, and they were sparkly.
Actually, it's all good. There's a lot of interesting films out there. And
there's also a lot of interesting comics. Philip, come on, rein it in, buddy.
All right. Charlie's
got a huge huge stat. Come on.
Whoa! Look, totally answer is stat.
Phil's Comics Corner.
All right, who's going first?
Let's see here. Well, Lilith, what do you want to talk about? Did you read any
I
book?
had a small week. You have a huge stat. Go for it.
Okay, well, let me do. Here we'll do our indie book of the week. Homesick Pilots number 5. Possibly to spin off the next plotline, the Nuclear Bastards, if they're going to do another one based around the character of Amy, who's covered in protoplasm permanently now, forever. For those who don't recall, there's this. Basically, it's like a Men in Black for ghosts, and our main character in this had been working with the ghost in this one, severely haunted house, and then there's the tape monster that is trying to capture and destroy the ghost house, and it all ends poorly. But we realize at the end that basically one of our characters who did survive and get rejected by the house, but was covered in everybody else's blood that won't come off, basically has been hired by the government to create the first ghost-powered weapon called the Nuclear Bastard. So, I don't know where it's going, but it might be cool. But yeah, I enjoyed the Homesick Pilots. I don't know if there's going to be a Homesick Pilots number 6. We'll have to see. But it seems to let itself off to set up Nuclear Bastards number 1 next month. So we'll see. Or sometime later.
Lil, you got anything you want to throw out?
I got 2. One is Jenny Zero. It's from, what was that, Dark Horse? So it's basically like Hancock meets Invincible. So she's like this child of a superhero, but she's a drunk. And so she's like, she can't live under the shadow and the pressure, so she's a drunk, and she kind of drops out of superhero life, and she has this best friend that's basically Paris Hilton. And then one day, like, the monsters come back, and she has to sober up to save the world. So it's like that's the journey.
What's the name of this book?
Jenny Zero, number 1.
Okay.
Dark Horse.
It's not the Lil
The
Helpful.
art is great, but the concept obviously not very original, but it's fun, and it's always nice to see a female superhero, especially in an indie book. So I just thought I'd throw that out there for you guys.
Unoriginal concepts have built
it's comic books. What do you want?
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. It's like, Jack Kirby created The Fly, and there was actually a character called The Fly in Pulp, or a character called The Spider in Pulps before that. So, they all kind of build off of each other.
Again, point at anything, you could say it was inspired by something in comic.
Yeah, it definitely is the exact vibe. Invincible meets Hancock. You cannot shake that feeling from this book.
There's another book I was seeing recently, which was another drunk superhero who has to make good,
The Lilith Hellfire story.
That's the supervillain origin. It's not. It's not a superhero story. It's supervillain. Slight difference.
All right, I know no one read Guardians of the Galaxy 13 or 175.
No,
not
really.
legacy numbering, Philip.
They're hey, they made it bigger than the 13, and I can't ignore
For
it.
reasons.
I know. But no, I mean, they're basically trying to turn the Guardians now, I guess, since the movie's a while off, into like the Avengers of space, because they're, you got that team. I guess Emperor Hulkling and Wiccan are going to be in there. Nova's going to be in there. Are
the Guardians working for Hulkling, or
No, because he even calls them with an emergency, like they're being attacked in the beginning, and Nova. I don't know if Nova's leading the team now, and he's like we don't work for you. He's like just like the Avengers don't work for any one nation on Earth. He's like, we come in and try to help, but we don't work for any planet or any body or anything.
Okay. Now, who's attacking them? Is that like the people from the Macroverse from the Ultimates?
Because
it looked like the Macroverse people.
They're kind of.
It looked like the Macro. I don't know, but
Yeah,
I was just curious.
I think they're just like some ancient aliens. Yeah, the progenitors.
They're like not quite the Celestials, but working that vibe.
Yes, but yeah, because they have a couple teams out there, and it's Al Ewing. You're on thin ice. Tread lightly, because yes, we get two quasars, and we're like, well, how is that possible? Well, he's pulling the old Marvel where they swap out by smacking the. Well, this time it's the quantum bands
Do
together.
I smell a special edition of the Quantum Zone?
Oh, another issue.
So wait, so one goes. So does one go to a quantum realm, or do they go to the negative zone?
He hasn't said yet because well, we only got a few pages of the quasars, but where's the panel? When they did swap out, they just showed, well, Wendell went into, they just showed like a black void.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see what?
You know what they should do? They should like, one should have a quantum band, and on the other wrist they should have a nega band, and it's the combination of the quantum and the nega that allows them to switch existences. Although, if they're both quasars, why are they bothering?
I don't know. They again, Al Ewing hasn't explained it. Again, I mean, are they swapping?
Of course, this is the quasar that almost died in the whole Hydra universe, right? Or the Hydra storyline.
Yeah. I mean, they both almost died. Yeah. Do you see what Wendell says when he swaps into wherever they go? Oh wait,
what?
Kind of blurry. I should have brought up podcast.
I should have brought a podcast. Well, you know, you should subscribe to the Quantum Zone.
Shout out to Will and the boys.
Oh yeah, 'cause I was gonna say, is Al Ewing calling us out? Because I remember when we talked to him, Charlie, I was like, "You have fans for Quasar?"
Well, there you go.
Hey, boys! You look at the party. I love the party.
So maybe one of these days he'll remember it and say, "Oh, good thing I brought the Quantum Zone this time."
So did you read this, Charlie?
No, I started to read it and I was like,
Oh, so you missed the ending when like the one team gets like taken down by some weird green lightning, and this humble man starts a speech and be like, you have all these fancy titles, and you know, I have only ruled a single kingdom, and all I have ever asked is to be called Doctor.
Oh, there we go. See, if I had read to the end, I would have been so happy.
Yeah, so somebody,
because I knew he was coming. I was like, and I started to read it, and I was like,
that call,
somewhere around Hulkling talking smack to Super Skrull, I kind of felt like, you know.
Yeah, but it's Al Ewing. Give it a chance.
I will go back and I will reread it. I will give it the chance it deserves.
So that college dropout had to be all humble man, you know, be like, I am great, even though I only call myself Doctor.
I am but a humble doctor. Baron Dr. Von Doom. Not a Von Doom,
Master
man.
Doom. So says Master Doom.
You know.
All right, Charlie, throw out the next book.
Oh, let's do. Want to do Iron Man?
Oh, okay. I didn't know if you were saving up for Super, but no, I'll talk it.
I mean, I don't know what I got. Iron Man. I got Fantastic Four. I got Thor.
I know.
I got Black Cat. What do you want, Philip?
We can talk Black Cat.
Let's talk Black Cat. Okay.
We'll probably read Black Cat. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll talk Black Cat.
Yeah.
I can't believe it's already to issue 5.
Yeah. I know.
Yeah.
I just missed the old one. It kind of lost something in the reboot.
Well,
I still like it, but it lost something. It lost its momentum, I think.
Well, when they had to do the big crossover in the beginning of this series, you know, the King in Black stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was fun, but unnecessary, as most crossovers are.
Yeah, Fantastic Four handles the King in Black really poorly this week.
What's
it's still going on? I take everything I said back about it.
I know, because like the last part of the main series came out, I'm like, why was it was Fantastic Four later?
Because they like did it's as you know, it does like first half of the book, King in Black. Oh no, what we're doing? Then it's like, whew. So glad that King in Black stuff is over.
Yeah, I know, because it's like Reed and Sue can't save Ben and Johnny because they don't get the symbiote, you know, until later. It's like, okay.
Yeah, it was poorly done. But anyway, let's get back to Black Cat.
Yeah, Black Cat.
So you have Black Cat,
is
Black
very
Fox.
bouncy. I
love
appreciate it.
Oh yeah.
And I don't know, man. Black Black Fox still like lying and
That's his bag. He's a coward. Even
I
Krista.
know it's cheap and it's rude.
redemption for the character. You can't blame him. It's
I'm
been how many
old.
years?
No, there's no redemption for him.
Since the 80s. I'm an old man.
Yeah, and the Gilded Saint. I don't know how I feel about him. He reminds me of that guy from Suicide Squad.
Oh, Diablo.
Yeah, when he becomes the flaming skull guy, and they trade.
Isn't it a little rude to make Diablo kind of the Latin character? Like, is it just me?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's DC's problem. This character is officially called the Gilded Saint, so he's supposed to, be kind of a Roman Catholic inspired deity with some Afro-Cuban Latino implications, possibly, maybe, and some voodoo and stuff,
You know who they should have in this book, to be honest, is Gambit. I'm just saying.
Well, you would think they would do that crossover.
I don't know. Is Gambit at Black Cat level as a thief?
Yeah, but
Yes, he is.
Yeah, but when you're doing
Guild of Thieves would like to have a word with you, sir.
I mean, Thieves
Okay.
Guild, I mean, that's where that whole thing started, is Gambit, the Thieves Guild.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but this is the New York Guild of Thieves who are out of canon with the rest of them. And
like all New York mobsters are. Gotta be special.
And maybe, quite frankly, doing their own thing has gotten them a little...
Oh, wait, that's Jersey. My fault.
Yeah, it's
true.
But so apparently they have the deed to Manhattan, which I guess is a thing. Which, not for nothing, sounds like something out of the real Ghostbusters. In fact, I am certain they stole this plotline from the real Ghostbusters.
Somebody get Jamie on the phone from Ghost Heads UK.
Somebody threw Jones and a real Ghostbusters in a blender and just hit the button.
They're given that's how they're going to get immortality for the Black Cat and the Black Fox. Not for the other two up on top who are doing all the work. Not for Dr. Corpse or Bruno. F them. They don't get immortality.
They're rubes. They're suckers, see?
because
I think that's going to be their undoing, though, because you know what? Black Cat, she's got heart. And she's also going to be the one who says, it ain't worth it if I live forever.
And again, it's this kind of thing never goes well for her. Remember when she was running around trying to get powers and she got those bad luck powers? It never goes good.
Yeah, well,
Can she get a crossover with Domino or something? Damn it! Come on, people!
Well, they actually had her fight.
She needs more crossovers into the bigger world. And
something that makes sense.
Oh, actually, I'm sorry, I got confused here because it was actually Domino who fought Longshot, and that was the whole thing, right?
Yeah, that was their thing. Yeah,
that was their thing.
That
yeah,
Kelly Thompson run.
But no,
good story.
She needs to cross into something that's not Spider-Man. Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly. But the whole
just let her out of that universe a little bit because it makes sense for what she does.
No, but the whole thing about being a person who lives by the sword and dies by the sword is that what makes it worth living is that someday you will die by the sword. It's living by the sword and dying by the sword is a feature, not a bug. That is the whole point, that we are seizing this now, because if we don't seize it now, when will we seize it? And if you are immortal and you can just seize whatever you want.
Only villains want to live forever. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, are you even a villain once you can live forever? Yeah. It just...
Hero.
I think I think is the resolution, is she's just going to say, no, I don't want this. Because what's the point of living if...
Let's all be honest, this is a side quest.
Yeah.
She thinks it's the main quest, but this is really just a side quest.
Well, this is the thing. And then again, it's that difference between being the old man, Black Fox, as he's dying, and the young woman, Felicia Hardy, while she's young and vital. And it's a much scarier idea that you're going to die when you've lived your life crookedly and you're worried that there may be consequences.
Mephisto's gonna come a knocking, baby.
But then again, the argument is, hey, don't we all wind up with Mephisto in time? That's the thing. It's like, are any of us going to heaven? What is, don't we all go to the bad place? And maybe if we're lucky, we're going to go to Michael's architectured world where
So we go to the
We
place.
actually get better after the fact. You know.
Yeah,
Because
it's
Mephisto
interesting,
seems to feel pretty much he has everyone's soul. And for what we've seen historically, he's like, no, you were a warrior. You lived by the sword. You died by the sword. You go to my realm. That's what happens.
There's another college
You
drop.
go to the unless you die gloriously in battle and get selected for Valhalla, it seems like all those people wind up going to the eternal pits of battle in Mephisto's
well, that
realm.
got dark pretty quick. That escalated quickly.
Hey, I still say that is Mockingbird that Hawkeye meets in the Hellcat series, that where she says, no, man, I did stuff you don't know about. Yeah, I did a lot of good, but I also did a lot of bad.
Oh, yeah.
And you actually can't expunge red from your ledger, which she doesn't say there, but just to use the modern colloquial, you don't get to expunge that red from your ledger, And arguably, maybe that's the one thing that Natasha does that does expunge that. It's like, well, you tried to save half the universe. Okay, fine. You get to go to heaven, Natasha.
But no, I started a big conversation on the one of the End of the Night threads because Jed McKay is going to be writing Moon Knight in July. I said, why don't we get a crossover? Moon Knight and Black Cat versus Taskmaster because he's writing all three of those. He's going to be writing all three of those books.
Damn, son's getting money. Well, that's kind of generally how you have to do it to get money in comic books nowadays.
Well, yeah,
But tell me
because they need to unionize. They need to join the Writers Guild. They need a vote.
I don't know if that would take the industry at this moment. Like I said, it's direct market is very much on the verge right now, so we don't really want to put any extra strain.
Well, when you get to self-published, I think you get an out on unionization.
And it might help Black Cat's profile because Taskmaster's about to be in Black Widow. Moon Knight's going to get his own Disney Plus series. So you tie her into the crossover with those two, it might help her boost her profile a little bit.
I'm just saying right now it's a great. I mean that would be fantastic. And for what it's worth, Marvel now owns Black. Well, do they own Black? Yeah, they have access to Black Cat. But they own Taskmaster again. They own all the other characters. So
comics wise, comics profile, yeah.
So I'm just saying it's interesting what they could do as far as that. But yeah, I would love to see a Taskmaster, Moon Knight, Black Cat. But why do you assume Black Cat's on Moon Knight's side?
Oh,
why do you assume Taskmaster isn't on Moon Knight's side?
Okay, everyone for themselves. Okay, that would be better.
Moon Knight and Taskmaster team up. They're both mercs. They both have that history.
Taskmaster's too egotistical to team up with anybody.
Moon Knight's not a mercenary anymore. He found religion, remember?
Yeah, and then his god ate him or something. So he's kind of lost religion again too. Whoa. He might be right back into that. Hey, you need a Moon Knight for hire? I'm available.
After that Avengers thing, yeah, I don't think those two are on good terms.
Have Khonshu will travel. Yeah. That is a thing that I'm surprised never has gotten rebooted. Is Have Gun Will Travel. That's a great series. But
the age of the reboot. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Cowboys will come back in fashion someday.
But no, I would love to. No, but I would love to see Taskmaster, Black Cat, and Moon Knight in one story. That would be. Honestly, that sounds like a perfect team. And
it's the same writer, so why not?
Yeah, they should be in each other's books all the time.
Triple your shackles. Triple your shackles.
Oh no, we could start a relationship between Moon Knight and Black Cat or something.
No.
Oh no!
Sacrilege.
No, you know how the story starts. She breaks into Grant Mansion trying to steal something. Does he still have that mansion? But yeah, she breaks in and tries to steal something off him.
Steals the mooncopter, bro.
Does he still have a mooncopter?
For this story, he will have the mooncopter.
Who knows?
She needs it as a getaway vehicle, okay?
Hey, I think
one of Tony Stark's suits. Why not?
And I think Tony Masters and Frenchie should just start dating, and
Frenchie can do way better. Come on,
he's in shape, and and what it is. The thing about Tony is he has no short-term memories, so it's like he might not even remember that he's open to it, man. I'm just saying things happen in relationships.
All right,
not pinned down to a moment in time.
not to drag this on too long, but that's a point there. It's like, is Taskmaster an exceptional lover because he can repeat any physical act he sees? So if he watches some of the adult entertainment,
That's highly edited, though. That's the thing. He'd actually have to watch like old school John Holmes to pull that off. So.
It's not even that interesting, old school John Holmes stuff. So.
That's what I'm going to say. Like
as a connoisseur,
what I'm saying, it's not visually interesting, but I get the feeling it's probably physically. I would imagine if the legends are true, it was a physically impressive feat to show.
Nobody tell Rob.
I was not Saturday yet, but I'm just saying.
Put a pin in that for discussion tomorrow on our Patreon.
Ida Marnell will be like, Taskmaster who?
I'm just saying, man, nothing made me want to go back and watch the Snyder Cut more than this film that we're reviewing tomorrow.
Wow. So positive. Wow.
I'm sorry.
Wow.
You know, some folks like his work. I'm like, really? This is what you like? It's.
Well, I'm just saying, Hugh Hefner, not as upfront.
Hey, look, the hate for Hugh is fine. I don't mind that. I just dislike the anti-intellectualism of it. It's like, some of us actually were aspirational and did want to know how to hook up our quadraphonic stereos. That's all I'm saying.
Indeed.
Even though we didn't have one. We wanted to live that life. We wanted that gadabout Playboy life and wanted to live that. It's like a romance novel for men.
Exactly.
It's like James Bond.
Get your rocks off, close the magazine, and just go about your day! Jeez!
No, you have to... not all of us are just... Not everybody is wham, bam, thank you, Sam. Lilith, I'm sorry. Some of us want to be romanced.
Penis. Nobody.
Some of us want to be romanced. I'm sorry.
Charlie, shh. Lilith, what was that again?
Nobody likes a pretentious penis. That's all I'm saying.
There's the ultimate nullifier of drop. Thank you.
Yes, please move that to the #1 slot. Hey-o.
Hey-o.
So, quick shout out to Fantastic Four, just because we already mentioned it.
Well, you're blowing your load now. You're not saving up for super connectivity.
I was going to say, yeah, please save that.
Okay, we can talk about it there too, but it's the same thing. It's like half of one book, and then, boy, I'm sure glad that story ended. Off panel.
Yeah, but at least the interpersonal connections are better. Because, Black Cat, do we really care about her and Black Fox,
I do. I felt that was really loving and moving. I actually was rooting for them, and I was actually
I just want him to die already.
Yeah. Well,
wasn't that true 90% of characters, though?
No, that's not true. I usually root for the bad guy, and I just let this guy drop off in a volcano somewhere.
Honestly, there's so many ways to be immortal in the Marvel Universe that this was like, I tried everything, and everything failed so far because I've been a jerk my whole life.
You're a failure. You're a loser.
Exactly. It's like,
sir.
not even Dracula will turn me. And he says that no one else will too, because I'm saying you're banned from immortality.
He even says he's a coward. And it's like, yeah, and anytime he showed up in Spider-Man, he was just a giant coward, and, he's just looking for that one last score, and,
Yeah, but the thing is, it's like, you're looking for that one last score. Okay, you had your last score. Call it a day.
Well, yeah, he usually got, Spider-Man interfered, or,
I would have got away with it, too, if it wasn't for those darn kids and their dogs.
Oh, well.
For those damn super apes.
Super apes.
Oh yeah, Charlie. That's right. This is story: Spider-Man, Black Fox, and Red Ghost and the Super Apes. Yes.
Oh, no. Red Ghost and the Super Apes. Well,
yeah.
Why you're gonna pick a fight with the Super Apes, man? Do not mess with the Super Apes.
And on that note,
watch what the monkey you spank, kids. Yes. All right. So. Hey-o. All right. So yes, a lot got thrown at you today from Predators, the pretentious penis. Send your thoughts on.
It's a medical term.
Pretentious penis is a medical term. Anyway, yeah. So send your thoughts on all of it. Email capesandlunatics@gmail.com or call the voicemail 614-382-2737. That's 614-38-CAPES. And remember to follow Capes and Lunatics on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I can find links to this YouTube channel. See Charlie Esser's pretty mustache. Pretentious mustache.
He's got a
It's
bald head.
fancy.
He might be secretly the villain the whole time now. I don't know. Got my eye on you.
There are no secrets here, Lilith.
Turner D jersey. Yes. Oh, yes. Find links to the. Please go subscribe to our YouTube. Go subscribe to our Patreon, please. Big things happening there. We're up to 3 subscribers. So
Nice.
yes, go subscribe to our Patreon and the Southgate Media Group.
Did you want to shout out those patrons, by the way?
Oh, that's right.
Imagine?
I believe it's Ray, Russell, and James. So
Nice. Thank you, boys.
They get to see me topless, and you
oh,
don't.
And seduce the pizza. That is a sight to see. Work the $5, kids.
you know what? If you ever wonder what Charlie Esser's nipples look like, you can find out. Anyway, so yes, link to the Patreon, links to merch.
Stay hydrated. Enjoy it while you last. They're trying to make us go back to the office and the tyranny of pants.
So yeah, links to everything all in one place. That's Linktree, linktr.ee/capesandlunatics. And please support our sponsors. Tweaked Audio. Hear that pretentious penis and crystal clear HD audio.
Use the coupon code Southgate at checkout for a discount.
And can't you use
Is
that
there
code?
another place we can use that?
I think you can use that over at hunterkiller.com, where you help Michelle Gray solve a cold case. It's like having an escape room delivered to your house. Test your mental metal.
Yeah.
For those of you learned people, go pick up Pod Life, the book, and now in digital and paperback. Audio version is coming. I sent my audio in, so
That's available at Amazon, isn't it, Phil?
that is available on Amazon. Thank you, Charlie.
How can I go to Amazon?
Well, the easiest way and the best way for us is to use that link down there in the show notes. It helps out Southgate Media Group. Well, it helps our show, the Southgate Media Group, and that fancy man himself, Rob Master Doom Southgate.
Make
He
it plain.
refuses to go to school to be a doctor.
So says Master Doom. What did you say?
You can do everything as a doctor, as a master. You don't need the doctorate. It's just how they get you.
Why did your eye drift over to my box?
Lilith Hellfire.
If you nerds want to hang out with me on the interwebs, find me on Twitter at Lilith Hellfire, TikTok at Lilith Hellfire69, and of course on Instagram at Lilith Hellfire69.
Smash it. Like I don't feel like they went in deep enough.
All right, Charlie Esser.
Well, you can always write to me in that old-fashioned email way the way our mothers and fathers once did. At superconnectivityblog@gmail.com. That's superconnectivityblog, all one word, at gmail.com. And follow me on the Twitters. I live tweet things, possibly the new Powerpuff Girls series, at Charlie Esser. CharlieEsser. Look for the 2 E's in the middle.
For quality.
Bing!
Thank you, Maz.
Little Nas X for him, by the way.
Oh yeah. I saw that, man, and I was thinking all these old school guys. Oh, of course, obviously. Doy.
All right, everyone. Thank you for joining us for another week. We have been your capes.
En passant.
Lunatics! Delayed gratification. Learn about it.
Teasing it, kids. Don't tell fires a tease. What I read on the wall was correct. Oh, look at modern art. Make it rain. Good night, you pretentious penis.